up the heat. T-Will on the mic, can't accept defeat. My ATL Sports Show, he's running the game. Atlanta Falcons fly high, you know the name. In the heart of the A, where the pride runs deep. From the Braves to the Falcons, he's keeping it real, no sleep. He's got the scoop, every player, every play. Bringing the thunder every single day. T-Will, shining bright on the airwaves, bringing sports tonight. Atlanta heart with the soul so free. My ATL Sports Show, it's the place to be. T-Will, taking flight. Falcons and Braves, yeah, we're feeling right. So bring that energy, let the city resonate. With T-Will on the mic, we're gonna celebrate.
Hey now. Happy Independence Day. Happy July the 4th. Happy day, everybody. Welcome, ATL Sports fans. With my two guys, we got Jordan from El Tegacy, and we got Mr. Debo Vibes from Debo Vibes.
Old Tegacy, get it right. It's Old Tegacy, bro.
Old Tegacy. What's going on, man? Y'all all right? Everybody good?
Man, happy 4th of July to you fellas, man. How y'all doing, man?
Hey, man, doing well. Matter of fact, since you doing it, Debo, I'm gonna do it too because I'm hot as hell. So I'm gonna take the sat off.
Yo, it is scorching hot outside, man. So I've been rocking the bald head all day. Like I gotta let it breathe, man.
Gotta let it breathe.
I gotta let it breathe, bro.
Wasn't that a song in the '90s by Fabulous? Was it Breathe? Oh, what was it? The '90s or 2000s?
That was that. Don't talk '90s no more, bro. All right, we'll start there. Don't talk '90s no more. That was wrong. Fabulous ass song called "Breathe" in 2004.
Damn it!
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a blur.
Take two.
It's a blur.
Take two.
All right. Well, gentlemen, real quick, hey man, we got an hour. We're gonna get into it. Got some NFL trivia for you, Jordan. I figured you would dominated this, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So you ready? In what year?
Oh yeah.
Did the first Super Bowl take place?
It's 67. The Super Bowl is 67.
Okay. All right. The iconic NFL on Fox theme song was partially inspired by which superhero?
Oh, I don't know the answer to this, but I'm going to guess because it sounds similar to the Incredible Hulk theme song from the 90s. So I'm going to say the Hulk.
It is not the Hulk. Debo, you got a guess?
No clue. I legit thought that was just a regular song. I mean, what, Superman? I have no idea.
It's
Captain America. The greatest American hero? I don't know, bro. So.
Oh my God, he said greatest American hero. Oh man, how'd that song go? Oh wait,
believe it or not, I'm walking on air. I never thought it would be the free. No, okay, that's it.
On a wing and a prayer.
There you go.
Who could it be? Yeah, no, it's Batman. Actually. Yeah, but you know what? I'm gonna go and watch one of those episodes, man. That you kind of reminded me of that, man. That's a dope show.
For sure, hell yeah, absolutely, absolutely, man.
All right, last one. 2015 Deflategate controversy began with the championship game between which two teams?
Wait, what? Who was the superhero?
It was Batman.
It was Batman?
It was Batman.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, what? I'm trying to think of it just doesn't sound right.
So I mean, where exactly did that come from? Like what? Where did that come from? What movie?
I have no idea.
Because it wasn't Adam West.
No,
Batman.
No, bro. He's talking about some of the 2000s. Well, actually, no. I'm sorry, because the first year of Fox coverage of the NFL was in '94.
Unless they're thinking like like is like like that's the only thing I can think of.
I can't. Yeah. So.
All right, Deflategate. With the championship. All right, it's Colts Patriots.
And you would be correct, sir. You would be correct.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Now, in other news, Madden 26 comes out August 14th. And guys, I need your help. My friend is coming back from out of town. and I need to whoop his ass in Madden. And Jordan, I need to hook you. He's coming back next week, so I gotta hit you up. Debo, do you play Madden or no?
No. Mm-mm.
Do not. All right, Jordan, I gotta hit you up. But Madden 26 comes out August 14th. Have you guys heard of the Madden curse?
I have.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. Absolutely, yes. Absolutely, sir. Yeah.
Okay. If you were a football player named Saquon who just won an NFL title, would you be on the Madden cover?
It's not really his choice. I mean, I don't think I've ever heard an NFL player say they didn't want to be on the cover. So I'm pretty sure it's not a choice. I'm pretty sure they select who goes on, and that's it.
Wow.
But look at my boy though. Look at my boy airborne hurdling someone backwards. Saquon is awesome. I just want to say that. Anyways.
What game did he do that in? You gotta know.
Jaguars.
Very good. Look at him. Legacy all day. Look at Legacy on. Okay, that's what's up.
Jordan keeping up with his team. All right, guys. Well, from one athlete to another, ladies and gentlemen in the chat and in the Terryverse and in the real universe out there, you have entered into the 4MYATLSPORTS, Altegacy Sports, and Altegacy Sports, can't talk today, and Debo Vibes.
Get it right.
Universe. What if? I tried to sound like the guy on Marvel. What if Michael Vick was never involved in the scandal? And you know what? Our resident history expert has put together a tapestry of events that he will tell us what actually would happen if Vick did not go to jail. And without further ado, Jordan, regale us with the alternate future that we were denied.
Well, first I want to say I love Mike Vick. I mean, he's pretty much the reason I'm an Eagles fan. I supported him. A lot of people here in Philly, they didn't want him because of everything that happened. But I believe in second chances, and he has more than proved that people deserve second chances. So I have always thought about this. What if Michael Vick didn't get involved in this scandal, go to prison? What would have happened to the NFL? Because a lot of things would have happened in the NFL. So if you've heard this before, it's because I've posted this multiple times, but I haven't posted it in 5 years. So we're going to go on a journey with what if Michael Vick didn't get involved in this dog scandal. We'll just call it a scandal, even though he did do prison time for this. And I also want to say I love dogs. I had 2 dogs for 17 years, so I love dogs. But anyways, let's get into it. So Michael Vick was pretty much the best player in football when at that point that he left the game. He gets a 6-year deal after his 1,000-yard rushing season, which was a historical accomplishment. No other quarterback had ever ran for 1,000 yards in history. So let's go into the 2007 season. So I have Atlanta going 9-7 the following year. I don't feel like Atlanta had that good enough of a roster in 2007 specifically, which kind of shows how they were able to get Matt Ryan in the first place. So I have them going 9-7, and they get the final playoff spot. Falcons would still have the same defeat as the Redskins. So the Redskins were originally in that spot, and they would lose to the Seahawks. And my gut feeling is that the Falcons would have also lost to the Seahawks in that game. I have the Titans going 9-7 because the Falcons' record changes. Other teams' records change. So I have the Titans going 9-7, Browns going 10-6. Browns getting the final spot in the playoffs. Pretty much the playoffs go the exact same. There's nothing specific that changes in 2007. Everything from here on out changes dramatically, though. The 2008 draft definitely changes. I have Atlanta with the 21st pick and the 19th pick. So the 19th pick, Sam Baker. But with the 21st pick, I have them drafting Felix Jones. So Felix Jones played quite a bit of time with Dallas. I think he had a solid career in the NFL, I believe. I thought he did well, at least. Couple other changes. Because, I mean, Jake Long was the number 1 pick in that draft. Chris Long was the 2nd pick. Darren McFadden, 3rd. Glenn Dorsey, 4th. Vernon Golson's 5th. It's pretty much the same thing. Cedric Ellis, 6th. Derek Harvey to the Jaguars, 7th. This is where some things change. Ryan Clady, a Pro Bowl tackle, very good tackle in the late 2000s, early 2010s. I have him going to Carolina. Detroit, I have them taking Brandon Albert, another tackle. He played with the Dolphins for quite a bit. Otherwise, the Chiefs going Jeff Ota. Jeff Ota was a tackle for the Panthers. He was okay. Now, where does Matt Ryan go? I have Matt Ryan getting drafted by the Baltimore Ravens. Now, we all know Joe Flacco got drafted by the Baltimore Ravens. Mm-hmm. In this situation, because Atlanta doesn't need a quarterback, the next quarterback-needy team is the Baltimore Ravens. So I have the Ravens picking Matt Ryan. Wow. Let's see. At pick 17. 18, I have the Panthers picking Aqib Talib. That's an interesting one. Let's see. Titans picking Rashad Mendenhall. I only did the first round. I'm not going to go through the whole draft because that would be way too much time. The Cowboys, this is an interesting one because the Cowboys were they really loved 2 running backs in this class, Darren McFadden and Chris Johnson. I have the Cowboys going Chris Johnson. Steelers, because they can't get Rashad Mendenhall, I have them going Matt Forte. So a big shift in the running back market. And then at number 26, the Texans, because there was never a Matt Schaub trade. Because Matt Schaub never started for the Falcons. He never did anything for the Falcons. So there's no trade to the Texans. So the Texans need a quarterback. So the Texans go Joe Flacco. Chargers go Dwayne Brown. Very good tackle. He's still playing. And that's it. I mean, that's pretty much it when it comes to the picks. I don't think the rest change all that much. So, yeah, Matt Schaub never starts in Houston with no trade happening. So Joe Flacco starts in Houston immediately. Flacco goes his career leading the Texans to their first playoff games and playoff victories. But Flacco's never had the skill set to make a Super Bowl unless he had a dominant team around him. And that's something the Texans just never had. So they had a couple playoff wins here and there, but they never make it to the Super Bowl. But he does bring in an MVP in 2009. For those who don't know, Matt Schaub, that year, he led the league in passing yards. Flacco is definitely better than Matt Schaub. So with that same core, I have Flacco winning MVP in 2009. All right. Now you're saying, all right, what about the Falcons? Obviously, what happens with the Falcons? So let's skip to the 2011 season for the Atlanta Falcons. So I have Michael Vick leading the Falcons to the playoffs and beating the New York Giants. This is 2011, by the way. I have them beating the New York Giants and the Green Bay Packers to go play the 49ers in the NFC Championship game.
Oh, okay.
Now, some things change. That 49ers defense was dominating everybody. It really came down to the 49ers. I mean, really falling over their own foot against the Giants. But against the Falcons, I have the 49ers winning. So it is a 49ers versus Patriots Super Bowl, and I have the 49ers winning. Patriots just never looked good in that Super Bowl, and I think even if the Niners went into that game, Niners were a much better team than the Giants. So I have the 49ers winning. I have MVP going to Vernon Davis, tight end, and Alex Smith gets a huge contract extension. That means no Colin Kaepernick. So you're also thinking, oh, what happened to the Eagles because they don't get Michael Vick? So when Donovan McNabb stays on the team and retires an Eagle, Kevin Kolb, it makes me gag every time I say his name, becomes a full-time starter for the Eagles, but he does so bad that they get the first pick in the 2012 draft. And the Colts, due to injury to Peyton Manning, they obviously get the second pick. The Eagles go to take Robert Griffin III with the first pick, not Andrew Luck, because Andy Reid loves his mobility. That was something that RG3 did better than Luck. Now, Luck was a mobile quarterback, so I'll give that to him. But RG3 was definitely more mobile. We all know that. So RG3 goes to 1, and Andrew Luck still goes to the Colts, but this time at 2. So that leads to what happens with the Redskins because they don't get RG3. Redskins end up, due to McNabb never going to the Redskins either, going for Alfred Morris at running back. So either way, they'll get Alfred Morris. Alfred Morris, in my opinion, one of the most underrated running backs of this century. He had such a great start to his career, a Hall of Fame start to his career. But he was just never given a true chance in the NFL. They go Alfred Morris in the first round and draft some guy named Russell Wilson in the second round because they do need a quarterback at the end of the day, but no quarterbacks that are good enough are available because Brandon Weeden still went to the Browns. That happened. So Russell Wilson goes to the Redskins in the second round. The Redskins and Rams never do the RG3 trade. So that huge trade never happens. The Redskins stock up on great defensive players like Janoris Jenkins. He was a longtime cornerback in the NFL. Michael Brockers, a solid defensive lineman. And Seattle, because they still need a quarterback in the third round. And they were planning on drafting this guy, but he was not there. Draft Nick Foles. And the Eagles never get that guy, Nick Foles. And the Eagles, obviously, because they already drafted a quarterback, they draft some nobody, and nobody cares. Nobody hears about them ever again. Nick Foles leads the Seahawks to a pretty good season in 2012, but no playoffs. Redskins have Rookie of the Year Russell Wilson. By the way, Giants fans, the Miracle in the Meadowlands 2 never happens because Kevin Kolb can't win at anything. So the Deshaun Jackson punt return touchdown, that never happens. Oh wow! Because it would have never, because Kevin Kolb would have been in the game.
Wow! Oh wow! Oh.
In 2012, now this is a big one for the Falcons. They take on MVP Matt Ryan and the Baltimore Ravens in the Super Bowl. So Michael Vick leading the Atlanta Falcons against Matt Ryan, MVP Matt Ryan's Baltimore Ravens. Now, 2012, the Ravens were a great team. I think we all know Matt Ryan is a better quarterback than Joe Flacco. So with the Ravens and Anquan Bolden and Ray Rice, I mean, even at that time with Matt Ryan on the Falcons, he was a good quarterback. But on the Ravens now with a great defense, a Super Bowl winning defense at the time in our current timeline. So who wins this game? Well, the Atlanta Falcons win their first Super Bowl as Matt Ryan's inexperience. Matt Ryan's inexperience in the Super Bowl isn't able to push them ahead. And Michael Vick with an experienced lineup with Julio Jones, with Roddy White, they go and win the Super Bowl. And Tony Gonzalez, they win the Super Bowl. Tony Gonzalez rides off into the sunset and retires after the 2012 season. So 2013, Nick Foles goes to the NFC Championship with the Seahawks, but loses to the 49ers. You see, at this point, Russell Wilson for Nick Foles. Russell Wilson, it was a good quarterback at that point, but Nick Foles, he didn't really reach his peak yet. So they lose to the Niners in the NFC Championship game. Denver wins the Super Bowl with Peyton Manning completing the greatest quarterback season ever. RG3 never gets hurt, and Chip Kelly is hired as the coach of the Eagles. You see, Andy Reid at that point with the Eagles, there was no fixing that time frame in Eagles history. I don't think either Andy Reid or the Eagles franchise regrets Andy leaving. That just was a mutual thing. So either way, Chip Kelly is going to get hired in this situation. So Chip Kelly gets paired with RG3 on the Eagles, and he never gets hurt. 2014, the Patriots beat the Packers in the Super Bowl. Instead of running the ball at the 1 yard line with one of the biggest backs in the NFL, Eddie Lacy. So we all know Marshawn goes to the 1 yard. The Seahawks go to the 1 yard line in our timeline, and they don't run it with Marshawn Lynch. Well, the Packers do basically the exact same thing with Eddie Lacy, who's one of the biggest backs at this point, and they can't win the Super Bowl.
You gotta be.
Marshawn Lynch never retires at this point because that play led to his eventual retirement. So he plays until 2019 and retires as a Seahawk. He never becomes a Raider. RG3 leads the Eagles downhill, and the Eagles get the second pick in the 2016 NFL draft, only to draft Carson Wentz. In 2016, Matt Ryan has a great year and an MVP candidate season while still finishing second in the division to the Steelers, but still making the playoffs as a 5 seed. Ravens defeat the Joe Flacco-led Texans, only to face the Patriots and lose. 2016 MVP Michael Vick leads the Atlanta Falcons to the Super Bowl against the New England Patriots. I just want that to soak in for you guys.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right, let me have it.
Go ahead.
No, let me have it. Let's go. What happens? I'm on the edge of my seat here. Let's go.
So Kyle Shanahan and the Atlanta Falcons, it was never a Falcons player issue. The players were never at fault. So even if you replace Michael Vick with Matt Ryan, I don't, especially at this point in Michael Vick's career, I don't think it changes the outcome of this game. And either way, the New England Patriots still win the Super Bowl. So during the 2017 draft, Deshaun Watson falls to the Broncos. Broncos become a borderline playoff team Watson's entire career, or up into 2020. In 2017, Michael Vick leads the Falcons to a 9-7 wild card season, defeats the Rams, Eagles, and Vikings for a rematch of Super Bowl 51. So we have Falcons and Patriots again.
Okay.
This time the Falcons learn from their mistakes and actually run the ball because Michael Vick is known for that, and the Falcons in general at this point know they're known for that. They run the ball so effectively, they keep Brady off the field, and the Falcons win their second Super Bowl.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Yes. Yes. Yes.
After the season, Texans look to move on from Joe Flacco by drafting Lamar Jackson. Ironic twist of fate. In 2018, the Falcons fail to make the playoffs and go 5-11 with Michael Vick retiring at the end of the season. So his career goes from 2001 to 2018.
Wow, 17 years. Okay.
In the 2019 draft, the Falcons go all in on Dwayne Haskins. 2019 Falcons are abysmal, go 3-13, have the third pick in the 2020 draft. Now, what quarterbacks came out in the 2020 draft? Basically, all of them. So, Falcons realize Haskins sucks, and they go and draft Justin Herbert with the intention of wanting a different style quarterback than years past with Michael Vick.
Gotcha.
So a change of rhythm for the offense. Herbert leads the Falcons to a 6-10 season in 2020, but with a bright future ahead for the Atlanta Falcons franchise. Now, two other teams had some interesting changes during this time. So obviously Russell Wilson goes to the Redskins Commanders football team. They make the playoffs every year with Russell Wilson from the time he enters the league to 2020. Alfred Morris becomes one of the best running backs in Washington history. Jordan Reed is one of the best tight ends in Washington history. I'm sure a lot of you forget how good Jordan Reed was at tight end. He was a very good tight end. He just could not stay healthy.
Yeah.
Although they never make the Super Bowl, Washington is always a threat in the NFC. And then finally, during this time, the Seahawks are led by Nick Foles, occasionally having great seasons, but they don't ever make it to the Super Bowl. A lot of highs and lows, even for one of the statistical greatest defenses of all time. So that, my friends, is what would happen if Michael Vick never retired. Now, I went to the 2020 season. You could have obviously gone further, but that leads to different other timelines of events. But this is what I think would happen if Michael Vick never left the Falcons.
I love it, Jordan. I think it's great. It's unfortunate that it happened the way it did, but hey, just hearing that just warms my heart to know that in another universe, our Falcons are two-time Super Bowl champions. I love it. Thank you, Jordan.
Now, the question I do have for both of you is, forget about everything else that happens, but let's say somehow the Falcons got Justin Herbert in 2020. How do you think the Falcons would look now if they had drafted Justin Herbert, somehow got Justin Herbert in 2020?
I have no idea. Maybe that's another what if. I have no idea. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you figure if you take him in 2020, he's still got to have offensive weapons, right? Mm-hmm. Who do we take in 2020 anyway?
Let's see. 2020 NFL draft. Let's see. That was the year with Joe Burrow. Falcons ended up drafting AJ Terrell. So in my scenario, the Falcons never get AJ Terrell. They end up getting Justin Herbert. So AJ Terrell goes to some other team. So yeah, you wouldn't have AJ Terrell, but you have Justin Herbert. So that's an interesting idea.
That is interesting. This whole line is interesting. Just that what could have taken place, man. So I thank you for putting it together and appreciate it. And wow, I'm gonna go back and watch this later. And I can't wait, man. Thank you for doing that, Jordan. We appreciate that, man. Definitely do. All right. Well, from Jordan, we got Debo in the building. Debo, you want to talk about the top 10 NFL passing leaders of all time?
So it's more of a twist. And this is why. So probably about a year and a half ago, I was me and my homeboy, we had a show on another YouTube channel. It's called Running Back. It was called Run It Back, where we were basically just talking about, saying how it was like a highlight show of how, each week how teams did and everything. It was like Sports Center pretty much, So, but he brought up a good point. My homeboy named CJ, and he brought up a point that I've never ever thought about, and I've always thought about this point that he made, and I want to bring it to y'all attention. Just have a conversation about it, and let me know what y'all think. So we're looking at all time passing leaders right here: Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Brett Favre, Roethlisberger, Phillip Rivers, etc. It goes on. Aaron Rodgers, Matt Ryan, Dan Marino, Matthew Stafford. So I don't know if you guys ever thought about this theory. If you have, let me know. But I'm gonna present it right here. Andrew Luck, his first pass was a middle screen pass in preseason. Middle screen pass. This is like a little dump off to Donald Brown. Donald Brown took it 75 yards to the house. Right?
Mm-hmm.
There was another occasion where you had, Jake Delhomme throw a screen pass to Steve Smith. What, about 2 yards? Steve Smith takes it 8 yards to the house. One of the main things that we discussed was when playoff game when the Steelers went to Denver. I forgot year. I don't know what year it was, but it was a game. Tim Tebow was the quarterback.
Okay.
All right. Tim Tebow drops back. Demarius Thomas does a dig route, like 16 yards down the field. Tim Tebow hits him. Demarius Thomas 8 yards for a touchdown. My homeboy told me we were talking about like, what I'm saying, college athletes who did their thing in the pros. And he made a comment that Tim Tebow sent the Steelers home. I said, no, he didn't. I said, Demarius Thomas did. And that's when he brought his point right here.
Mhm.
Is the NFL passing yardage stat inflated? Is it the most overrated stat in sports history? Because you can sit here and throw off a dump pass to a running back or, or ex receiver, whatever case may be, and you can throw it 5 yards. This dude does all the work, goes 75 yards, but the quarterback is still credited for passing yards. So is a passing yard the most inflated stat in sports? I'm asking both of y'all.
Jordan?
I mean, one of the first questions I ever had about football was, why do quarterbacks get credit for all the yardage that a wide receiver gets after they catch it?
Absolutely.
I mean, it really doesn't make any sense, because when you talk about passing yards, it's the yards. I mean, now this is my 8-year-old brain, and it to this day, it like what you're saying makes 100% sense, because when you're trying to explain this to like an 8-year-old, you really can't. Like, there's no reason that quarterbacks should get that additional yardage after the catch. I mean, because why? That's all the work that the receivers do. So I completely agree. I think it is. I think it's probably one of the most overrated stats. It's like stats to figure out in sports.
Right.
I mean, for me, passer rating, I could go on a rant for like 3 hours.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, right.
Passer rating just doesn't make sense. But yeah, passing yards, it's definitely very overrated. Now, when you are throwing for like what Drew Brees did, throwing like 5,000 yards like 4 or 5 times in his career, like that is something to. When you're doing it so many times, then it's understandable. But I don't think quarterbacks should be credited for that yards after the catch.
Out of the list we're looking at right here, I'll ask you, T. Will, who do you think is a true passing leader in the NFL of all time? Because like the reason I'm saying this question, and then I ask you, Jordan, is because, like I said, we talked about this in detail. You look at yak yards, yards after the catch, YAC. Are these quarterbacks really don't throw for, like Tom Brady right there? It says 89,214 yards. Drew Brees 80,358 yards. That's inflated because they haven't thrown for that many yards. They throw it to a skilled player. Now sometimes the old school quarterbacks, i.e. Dan Marino. I think Dan Marino is the best quarterback ever. Me personally. Dan Marino is the best quarterback as far as like fine receivers, hitting them, actually passing the ball. I think it's Dan Marino. You look at other individuals right here. How many yak yards were they a beneficiary of? What do you think about that T. Will?
I mean, Dan Marino's definitely up there. I don't have an issue with yak yards. I don't. That's just me. I mean, you're in pursuit of the same goal. You're trying to get it. you're trying to score, you're trying to advance the ball. I can see your point. I don't have an issue in Yak.
Right, but why? I mean, why is the quarterback credited for something that they didn't do?
Well, I mean, he did get him the ball. He did throw him the ball, and a lot of times. Well, here's what I would counter with, and specifically when it comes to Drew Brees, one of the things that Drew Brees did very well is he threw the ball where you could keep running, right? So there's a difference if I throw you the ball and you got to shake away and fake out three guys versus if I put the ball where if you get it, you got nothing but daylight and you can run for days. There's a difference. And they're both yak yards, right? They're both yak yards. But in one instance, I put the ball and I put you in a situation where if you catch it, your continued motion is going to give you nothing but green air, blue air, green, clear sky, and green yards in front of you. And others, maybe you got to dive, maybe you got to whatever. So I don't think necessarily yak yards are there are two types of yak yards in my opinion, right? Like I love Matt Ryan, but Matt would put it where sometimes Julio may have to reach back or whatever. And Matt was a good quarterback, but if I'm being honest, the one thing that Drew Brees was really good at in his heyday was putting the ball where on a slant, if you got it, he's going to put it where if you catch it, you got 20 yards in front of you and nobody, right? That's a skill. So I don't necessarily say that all yak yards are necessary on the receiver. Some of it is where the quarterback positions it. But if we're looking at skill set,
right, which I'm doing, yeah, right, for sure.
I honestly, all right. So if it's me, I'm going to go Brett Favre, then Dan Marino, in that order. It'd be Brett Favre, because I don't care what anybody says. That damn Brett Favre could make throws that nobody else could make. So yeah, just on natural ability, Marino was up there. I mean, Marino, you could argue of all these folks, Marino has the greatest arm anyway.
Let me put it like this right quick, and let me ask y'all if this analogy makes any sense. Trey Young throws a pass to Ricochet. Ricochet hits a 3-point shot. Should Trey Young be credited for that 3-point shot?
That's a good analogy. That's a really good analogy because no, he shouldn't.
Why not?
Because he's not the one scoring.
Thank you.
That's why he gets credit for the assist.
Exactly. It's a call and assist. Those 3 points do not go to Trey Young. They go to Ricochet.
That's a really good. I never thought about that.
You got to think about that, bro. If somebody's on second base, let's say, goddamn, with Pro Far. That's Pro Far's on second base, or whatever. Let's say Nick Allen's on second base, right? Nick Allen's on second base, and Acuna hits a home run. Does Nick Allen get credit for that home run?
No.
Why not?
Because he didn't hit it.
Okay. If Jake Delhomme steps back, throws a screen pass to Steve Smith. Steve Smith takes it to the house 75 yards. Should Jake Delhomme get credit for that touchdown?
Yeah, I'm going to say yeah.
How?
I'm going to say yeah.
I'm really asking you how.
Well, he wouldn't have the opportunity if Jake Delhomme doesn't throw him the screen pass. You know what I mean? Because, hey, look it. The quarterback give it, the quarterback take it away, right? So what about this beautiful pass? Same game, Jake Delhomme throws out for Steve Smith, throws it in front of Steve away from – so he's running the route to the left side. Jake throws a beautiful angle route,
right,
left corner, right? If he doesn't throw it that way, Steve won't get there. Steve won't score, right? So quarterback giveth, quarterback taketh away.
And Jake Delhomme was running down the field with Steve Smith, juking defenders and everything for that touchdown, right?
No, but he put it out there for him. You're talking about on the screen. No, I mean, I see your point. I still don't agree. I see your point, and it's a valid one. It is a valid one. But I think there are going to be so many situations where a quarterback is going to bail out a receiver because he's going to put him in a situation where all he's got to do is run.
A quarterback going to bail out receivers other way around, bro.
No. I know receivers bail out quarterbacks. I know they do. But you have to. Let's say, all right. So let Mr. Aaron Rodgers, right? King of the hitch, king of the throw. What do you call that pass where you throw it behind the? You throw it where only your guy can get it. The what?
Fade.
Yeah. No. The one where we're even, right? They say if you're even, we're running down on a 9, and I can't get past it. So Aaron throws it behind me. The cornerback can't get it. I forget what it's called, but Aaron pioneered this.
Right. Okay. Right.
Aaron, that's all quarterback.
Right? No, for sure. That part, that's a quarterback. Yeah, that's all a quarterback. Is a touchdown because the pass you're talking about has to be done in the red zone.
No, you can do that. No, I'm not talking about the fade, but you guys know what I'm talking about.
No. We know what you're talking about. The back. You talking about the backdoor pass.
Yeah.
Where the over shoulder pass where the receiver catches it. That's all the quarterback.
Right, but so in other words, I'm going up against Debo. Debo's freaking faster than me. I can't get by him. So Aaron throws it behind Debo, and I turn around and catch it, and Debo's still running. I forget what it's called, but it's basically
no backdoor fade or some shit. Yeah, but has there ever been a situation where someone did that, took it 60 yards to the house? No.
Not every day.
No, this never happened. Because for them to catch it, at the time they're falling down.
Yeah, in most. Yeah, I guess.
No, I'm telling you.
Yeah, no, I mean you're right. Okay, you're right.
Here's the one thing I'll throw out there. Should they be credited for the yards completed, not the yards after the catch? So take away the yards after the catch. But still get credited for if they score a touchdown, because they did complete the ball to the receiver, so they should be credited for the touchdown and for the yards before the catch.
What did the quarterback do once he delivered the ball to the receiver? What did the quarterback do to get credit for that touchdown?
I mean, this is where I see both sides, because I think completing the pass in the first place is where they should be credited for the touchdown, but I don't think they should be credited for the yards after the catch, because I don't think that makes any sense. Like, in order for them to be like, they had to throw it in the first place. So I do think they should be credited for that touchdown, for the yards that was thrown to the receiver, but not the yards after the catch. I don't think that would make any sense.
It's just like I said, if we can listen and talk about a great by my homeboy's premise, and me and him we talked about several times, who do you think is the greatest quarterback of all time? But if we go by what is laid out for you guys, passing yards, touchdown, who do you think is the greatest quarterback of all time?
I'm still gonna say Tom Brady.
Well,
I don't think he's the most talented quarterback in NFL history. Like, I could sit here and point to every single one of these quarterbacks except Phillip Rivers and probably Matt Ryan and explain why an area of their game that they're better than Tom Brady at. But that's just the greatness of Tom Brady is he always figures it out, even though he runs like a 40-minute, 40-yard dash. And he doesn't have the strongest arm in the world. He's not the most accurate. Like, Drew Brees is more accurate than Tom Brady. Peyton Manning is more accurate than Tom Brady. Brett Favre has a stronger arm than Tom Brady. He's more athletic than Tom Brady. Ben Roethlisberger in the pocket has better mobility in the pocket than Tom Brady. Phillip Rivers, again, nothing. Rodgers more athletic than Tom Brady. Also, he's more accurate than Tom Brady. Again, Matt Ryan, I don't really know. He's probably more mobile than Brady. Marino, stronger arm.
No.
Marino in my opinion, the two best arm talents in the history of the NFL are Patrick Mahomes and Dan Marino. Just on their arm alone. That's it. Nothing else, because we're factoring in like their mobility. Then I am going to side with Mahomes because Marino couldn't run to save a cat. And then Stafford definitely had a stronger arm than Tom Brady. So there are areas to each of their games that are way more that can prove why they're more talented than Tom Brady. But again, that's just that's why we hate him, is because he always finds a way. He's never the fastest. He's one of the slowest. He doesn't have that strong of an arm. He has a decently solid arm strength, decently solid accuracy, but dude just finds a way. So I do still think Tom Brady is the greatest.
So yards after the catch aside, you still think Tom Brady would still be the all-time leading passer?
Probably yes. In fact, you're giving me homework right now because after this I'm going to see if I can figure out yards after the catch for all the great quarterbacks and see what their adjust and subtract that from their.
How would you even do that?
Well, yards after the catch is a stat that is pretty accessible. I don't know how far back it goes.
And that's what I'm talking about.
I'd probably have to see how far back it goes, but it's pretty simple. I mean, just take away because the yards after the catch, you won't see that on the quarterback stat sheet. If you go on the Pro Football Reference, you'll see that on the receiver spreadsheet. So I would have to go to each season for each team that these quarterbacks played on, check what the yards after the catch were for all the receivers, and then subtract that from their total passing yards.
For sure. Okay, if you take away Yak, from what we're looking at right now, these gentlemen, these 10 quarterbacks, who would you take off, or would you not who? If would you take anyone off and put someone on there? Would you subtract somebody off of there? Because to be honest with you, bro, I would take. See, I would have to see which one to take off, but I'll put Steve Young on there.
That would be tough. I think Rivers.
Yards Steve Young has, and then what about his yak yards?
No, that's my whole point, bro. Because a lot of times Steve Young, the offense he was in, he's still throwing dimes to Jerry Rice downfield on 9 routes.
Yeah.
And you notice the one thing about all
Brent Jones, bro.
None of them were in a West Coast offense, which would lead to more yards after the catch.
Right.
So how far down would Joe Montana have gone?
Yeah.
That's a huge question. I mean, anyone in a West Coast offense taken away. But I think Rivers would have probably fallen down because I think a lot of his running backs were great receivers.
Yeah, and exactly.
Yards
that's my point. Yeah, Phillip Rivers, he's doing double outs with fucking LaDainian Tomlinson. Come on. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Again, I'm not discrediting none of these quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? But just think about it. We talking about quarterback greatness. Oh, he's the greatest quarterback ever. What did he actually do to actually solidify his greatness?
You talking about Tom Brady or who?
No, or anybody, bro. No, this is Tom Brady. Anybody.
Well, Tom Brady knows how to win, man. You know,
I'm not. It's not. We're talking about stats. I'm not talking about winning.
You're talking about just stats.
I'm just talking about straight up stats, bro. If somebody like you said, you got a guy like Andrew Luck who drops back, throws a middle screen to Donald Brown. Donald Brown taking 70 yards, and then oh my God, Andrew Luck, he did it! Look at this is the greatest Andrew Luck. When he just literally dumped it off to somebody. I got a problem with that.
And that's why on my all-time quarterbacks list with inflated stats, I don't have Tom Brady at 1 in statistics. Just in my statistics category alone. Tom Brady's not 1, he's not 2, he's not 3. I have him at 4. I think there are 3 quarterbacks statistically that have been better than Tom Brady. When we're talking about numbers, that's the one area that is not glaring for Tom why he's the best. Now, I mean, he's got 9,000 more yards than the next guy, but he also played 40 million years. So that helps to his resume. So, I mean, I think his numbers put him in this conversation. And I think if you take his yak yardage, I don't know how that would affect Tom because I don't think a lot of his yards were yards after the catch. I think there's instances throughout his, especially later in his career, where the yards after the catch were affecting him. But one guy on this list that I'm confident wouldn't be on here is Matthew Stafford. because he didn't have the luxury of running backs throughout his career, but he had pretty good receiving backs throughout his career.
Yeah, he did.
Reggie Bush, Theo Reddick, even Kyron Williams is solid right now. And then other route.
On top of that, he had Megatron.
Calvin Johnson,
right.
Golden Tate was great after the catch.
Right.
And then the two guys he had in Los Angeles, Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, are both fantastic after the catch.
Right.
So
right.
I am confident to say that Matthew Stafford would not be on this list. I don't know who's at 11 specifically, but I'm pretty confident that he would be off.
So I said Steve Young. Can you think of anyone else? A pure passer, accuracy wise, who could be on this list as actually achieving passing yardage?
So Eli Manning's 11th in passing yards, and he didn't really check down all that often. Like there wasn't a lot of yards after the catch with him. 1 year in particular that it really affected him was 2011 with Victor Cruz and Hakeem Nicks.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I think Eli would have probably been over Stafford. Mm-hmm. And I think Elway's at 12. I think Elway probably sneaks in. To the top.
Good call, bro. I think Elway will be totally in top 10 if we're talking about pure passing yards.
What about Warren Moon?
I think Warren Moon would be too. Warren Moon's
that's kind of see. I got to think about that because in that run shoot offense, Warren Moon didn't really throw the ball deep. A lot of things he was doing on that Jack Pardee offense, man, was like dink and dunk.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it was like a lot of receivers, bro. They very rarely went deep. To be honest with you, the more I think about it, I cannot recall a deep pass Warren Moon threw. There's a lot of dink and dunk. The Hayward Jeffries, you know what I'm saying? Ernest Givens, you know what I mean? So, to Duncan, you know what I'm saying? So. But a lot of those guys were small guys who did their damage on the outside or inside. The more I think about it, I cannot recall Warren Moon throwing a deep pass for a touchdown.
How about Dan Fouts? Air Coryell.
No, that's a good one. Now I feel you on that, bro. That's a good one.
And with today's NFL, like the NFL, the reason the interceptions were so high throughout like NFL history up until like the late 90s to now is because now teams want to be safe. Like if you're not turning the ball over, a team is looking at you like you're a really good quarterback. That's why Aaron Rodgers is one of the most overrated quarterbacks in NFL history because he has. I'm pretty sure he still has the record for touchdown percentage or touchdown to interception ratio in NFL history.
Mm-hmm.
And he still screwed up at times. And like, just because you're not turning the ball over doesn't mean it's not going to lead to a punt. Like which is inherently turning the ball over. So I think a lot of these quarterbacks would fall because a lot of them went into this new style where it's like, because you're not gunslinging, this is why I appreciate Brett Favre there's a lot of people, there's a stigma out on Brett Favre outside of what's going on in his personal life, but there's a stigma on Brett Favre that he was a turnover machine, which he was, but that's why he was a gunslinger. And I think that's something we don't really have anymore in the NFL. And he was just willing to throw the ball wherever he wanted. So I appreciate him for that because all these quarterbacks are dinking and dunking because it's the safest option for them.
Right.
Brett Favre did not care. So I do appreciate for him.
He would fit it in the windows that only he could fit it in. Like he would take passes, but he completed a lot of passes that nobody else could do. Right? Yeah, he did throw a lot of interceptions, but he threw a lot of touchdowns in very, very tight windows. That game against when his dad died. I mean, he was
against the Raiders. Yeah, the Raider game. Monday Night Football. Yeah.
Yeah, he was otherworldly that game. So Well, hey, maybe that's homework, guys. Maybe we, take this one back to the lab.
Hey, Jordan, bro, if you can find that out from what you just said, if you can actually see, do your as long you can, figure out who was one of the best quarterbacks pre-Yak. As far as delivering, I'll be intrigued by that, bro. Real talk.
I'm very intrigued by it. I can't wait to do that. I'm gonna check it out.
You're welcome.
It's a very interesting idea. I like it.
You're welcome for this gift, Jordan.
Thank you for homework, sir.
Well, for this homework.
Absolutely.
Your life, Jordan.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
It's gonna enrich your life. Yeah. Okay. Well, guys, look unfortunately, I got to make the world safe for wireless customers everywhere, but this was fun. Debo and Jordan, thank you both for your contributions, man. So much fun. Jordan, you want to tell these folks where they can find you?
You can find me at Old Tegacy. It's ULTEGACY, Old Tegacy. Let me pronounce it for you a third time, Old Tegacy. Because T-Will's not the only person today I had to correct. I had to correct 3 other people today who are like, Tegacy?
No. Hey, Joe, you got a brand, bro. You got a brand. Let them know. Yeah. Oh, here we go with this. Okay.
So, Alt Tegacy.
Yeah, Old Tegacy.
Old Tegacy.
Yeah.
Old Tegacy.
It's right there, clear as day. We see it. Yeah.
Just like Dora teaches you your ABCs.
Oh wow!
Old
Yeah, we see it.
That's why your Phillies suck right there. Phillies suck. Say it. Phillies suck.
To be quite frank to you, Will, we should be the last motherfucker to tell you who sucks.
Hey man, look it. I'm broken. I'm a broken man. Okay.
I'm not, bro. Let's not do that.
Seen these Braves? Have you seen them? Jesus Christ! I'm saying I need something, Debo. I gotta hang on to something. Okay.
He's
already conquered the NFL. He can't have Major League Baseball too. He cannot have it.
Right.
I
cannot have it. Sure. Damn it. He cannot.
I just want the basketball world.
You can't have that either. You're confined to football because you guys are going to be pretty good for a while. So just accept that and be appreciative. Okay.
I can accept being really good at football for a while. Thank you, fellow Atlanta Falcons fans.
Man,
look, you set that up. Man. You set that up.
Somebody his mic off. Yeah. All right, man.
I ain't saying shit. That's been y'all. I'm not saying nothing. Our team suck, bro. Shit.
Oh man, Jordan, we got a show tomorrow. We're doing Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice. Oh, are you visiting one of your spots this weekend?
Yes, sir. I'm going to. Okay, man. Take him off, bro. Okay, bro. You know you can take his ass off, right? Take him off. Get him off.
I'm gonna boot his ass out of here.
Get him out of here. Go Phillies. We don't care about that.
I'll boot his ass out of here. You gotta go now. You doing too much, Jordan.
Oh man. I will. Yeah. I got a video. I'm gonna do a video this week. It probably post sometime next week, though, to be honest with you, man. But yeah. Yes, I'm a foodie, man. So check me out, Debo Vibes on YouTube, The Real Debo Vibes on IG, and
the 90s.
The 90s show featuring me, Debo Vibes, my brother, my twin brother, Debo Life, and my homegirl, Miss Angie. We got another show coming up this week. Well, actually next week. And we got a special guest, man, that everybody knows. Everybody knows. And we're excited about it, man. It's going to be about Vegas. It's going to be Growing Up in Vegas Part 2. We're going to talk about some 1990s jams, stuff like that. We're very excited about it, man. And for anybody watching that show, man, that me and my brother, my homegirl doing, is blowing up. And we love y'all, man. We love talking about old school stuff. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely love it. And we actually know for a fact, y'all. We know for a fact that Alicia Keys and Usher Raymond came out with My Boo in 2004, as opposed to T-Woo thought it came out in the 1990s. All to the G.
Yeah, so
you thought that was the 90s?
That was last week, Debo.
No. Jordan, what's your question? No. Jordan, what's your question?
You thought that was the 90s? That's in my favorites playlist.
I was rushing, right? Because I was just out of the hospital. I was trying to put together a program, okay? And I threw in hits of the 90s in their lyrics. And I was trying to stump Debo. And damn it, yeah. That whatever, man. That was last week, Debo. Whatever.
Let's move forward.
Whatever.
Let's move forward, Dad.
What? All right, y'all. Everybody in the chat has joined us. Thank you. I think Lamar jumped in here. Craig jumped in here. Mike jumped in here. And Jay Black and everybody else that we can't see. Thank you for joining us. You could have been anywhere in the world. You chose to be with us, and we appreciate it. Jordan and I will be back tomorrow doing Batman versus Superman. Debo does his weekend thing at whatever restaurant he goes to, and believe you me, whatever restaurant he picks, it's going to be a good one. Look, I've gone, I've done the homework behind him, and you know the man doesn't lie. So if he tells you something's good, it's going to be good. It's going to taste good. Might not necessarily be good for you, but it's going to taste good going down.
All right,
check him out. And of course, Jordan, do you have any shows coming up this week on Legacy?
I do not. I'm working on a project though.
Okay. All right. That's cool. Well, hey man, let us know. We'll put it out there. So yeah, guys, you have an amazing day. Everyone have a safe, happy 4th of July. If you celebrate that, please be careful. People consume very heavy amounts of alcohol on these weekends. Please be careful. And
keep
look,
your digits.
Hey
keep
man,
your digits.
Keep
your fingers, y'all, for real.
Keep your digits.
Yeah. And if you are drinking, just remember to drink responsibly. Again, thank you to Lamar Johnson. Thank you to Debo and obviously Jordan, my brothers from others. Thank you to Jack Spade and Eric Parker, my literal brother. And thank you to God. Last but not least, I appreciate it. You guys can see me on 4MYATLSPORTS1 on YouTube and 4MyATL Movies 1 on YouTube. You guys have an amazing day. Thanks, everybody. Be safe. Good night.
Peace.
Hey, you just watched another entertaining and interesting For My ATL Fans Sports 1 show. If you enjoyed the show, please let T-Will know by hitting the like, share, and subscribe buttons. T-Will would have brought you this message himself. This guy doesn't know how to keep it short and simple, not to mention that outrageous laugh. Anyway, tune in next time and have a great day. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Bye.